what's going on with this music. How's everyone doing? Everyone good out there? Rocking and rolling. Nickel, I see you out there. Bugging a Flea doing a nice little ad for us. For those of you brought up on Pillsbury, kind of works. I thought it was kind of funny. Your brain works in a similar way as mine. Autumn Beauty, always nice to see you. Boris Boulevard. Boris. That's the specific Boris we're talking about. The one on Boris Boulevard. Hello. Nice. Good topics. Yeah, someone had asked me to do this show. So, I thought it was like, Yeah, at first it was a little more of a, how the hell am I going to do that? And then I kind of thought about it and came up with some cool stuff, I hope. We'll see what you guys think. Kim W., yay! Nice. Yeah, good for you for being here. Peter, good to see you, bud. Juan. Augustin Jr., Villa Gomez. Hola, senor. Autumn Beauty, again, well, thank you. That's very kind. Speaking back. We'll see if we can install for a couple more minutes. Apologize, guys, for those of you that are maybe watching this after the effect. Just skip ahead to like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever. Killing some time. That's what the joy of the playback is, by the way. You can skip through. When Dan starts talking long-winded, you're like, oh, this is going to be a minute long. Just bam, just jump ahead. That's all right. That's fine. Love it. Rainbow Carnmich from Clarksville, Tennessee, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. I don't know if you're the one that always chimes in or not, but I lived out in Knoxville back around 2000. I was on WIMZ, Knoxville's classic rock. That was me. I was one of those guys. Good times though. Good times indeed. That was probably one of the highlights of my odd career. It paid horribly, by the way, people. That's why I got out of it. A lot of people are like, why would you leave it? It's so amazing. It's like, yeah, you make zero money when you're the overnight guy. Zero money. Oh, it was horrible. But it was a bitchin' job. Cool. Hey there, Shivam. You comment quite a bit. And you were the one, right? All right, good. Yeah, Shivam's the one that, first off, Shivam's so awesome, they doubled the name up. It's kind of like Mahi Mahi. It's the fish is so delicious, they doubled the name. That's what I'm talking about. If you've ever had a chance to try Mahi Mahi, if you've ever had a chance to try Shivam, bam, so good. Twice. Yeah, we're going to do it. Okay, cool. We're done with this song. Let's go ahead and get serious about doing this show, and then we'll open up for Q&A. I'll take all sorts of crazy questions that anybody comes up with. By the way, Brenda, if you're out there, thank you. I'm always impressed when people donate money. You guys are the best, and sometimes I just don't understand if I'm whatever. We all have the same moments. I've got to learn to love myself more. Still working on it. Anywho, Pono and Neville Goddard. And someone had asked me, and I think it was a great question, how do these two worlds tie together? Do they? First off. And at first I was kind of like, man, these are like just totally different things. But they really aren't. And so I thought, it finally kind of dawned on me. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Ho'oponopono, first off, I sent out a poll earlier. I might pull that up at the end if you guys haven't seen it or not. I don't know exactly where the community section is on my channel, but I mean, if you want to open up another tab or whatever, you can. If you just want to listen, you don't have to. But yeah, I did a poll on who's tried Ho'oponopono and who hasn't. But Ho'oponopono was a Hawaiian, at least a Pacific Islander kind of tradition of forgiveness. It's a really, really cool way when you've got tough feelings for someone, when maybe you are having a hard time letting go. I just had someone that was going through a breakup, and they're really frustrated because this person hurt them very badly. And this is common for a lot of us, right? We get in a breakup, someone hurts us really badly, and all we really want, one, is forgiveness, of course. Like, we want them to ask us to forgive them, like say I'm sorry, right? Which really doesn't do anything. Just first and foremost, if you think about it from a logical standpoint, even an emotional standpoint, someone saying I'm sorry really doesn't do anything. It's just an acknowledging that they've done something to affect you, right? But the other side of it is with holding when the relationship is maybe going bad, maybe we want them to actually experience some sort of pain or uncomfort. We want them to maybe hurt like we do. And what happens when you get to a place where you're trying to, or you want some other individual to experience uncomfort in any way, shape, or form, even if it's as small as I want them to itch on their cheek, right? That's like something to that level. Even when you're asking someone to be affected in a negative way, especially, it can be in a positive way. That's always cool. That actually causes problems back on you. It gets reflected back. Goddard frequently talks about how when you have ill wish on someone or something that they're not capable of doing or something they don't want to do. Essentially, it's like outside of their, like, why would I try to harm myself? Most people don't, just out of self-preservation. We don't ever try to just like, yeah, what can I do today to make my life feel worse? Like, we don't do that. That's just not a conscious choice we make. So when we carry those kinds of feelings, it actually affects our manifesting to a very negative degree. In fact, in a lot of cases, it will straight up block you from what you're trying to experience, because really what you're doing is you're trying to manifest something that's not okay, but you mean it in an okay way, right? But you're like, well, I want them back, but I want them to hurt a little so they know. And it's like, yeah, that's not going to work. So Ho'oponopono, and I'm going to talk about Astro letters too, because it's the thing I was taught by my teacher, and I think it's the same kind of concept. Ho'oponopono is the Hawaiian, and there's 4 steps to it, and it's really cool. It's, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. That's it. And what's beautiful about it is it's 1, simplicity. 2, it cuts right to the chase. First off, ownership. I'm sorry. You're kind of taking ownership for the fact that what's going on right now is our choosing. Even if someone tries to harm you, say someone says something to you that's negative. And this is kind of a thing that seems to be happening nowadays, where a lot of people are under this impression that if someone says something that you don't like or upsets you or makes you angry or frustrates you or hurts your feelings, that it's their fault. And it's not. It's not. And one of the hugest problems we have is the second we push it outside of ourselves. Remember, everything comes from within and then comes out, right? So if we look at this outside thing and say that you're at fault for what I am experiencing and feeling, you've forgotten that you created the thing that caused you to feel that way, quote unquote, caused. And it's not even a cause from that standpoint either, because what really happens, someone says you're fat. It is us taking the comment and internalizing it and going, man, I am kind of overweight. Like, I really should be going to the gym. And And so your feelings get hurt because someone's pointed out something that you're insecure about, you pushed out, right? And so we get bothered by it. And then we blame them for something that's already inside ourselves that we already feel bad about. But we're mad at them because they brought it up, even though we attracted that because we've already got that inside ourselves. If someone's not fat, for example, just to use that, you're fat, right? And I'm walking around like someone like me would be like, okay, right? Like, I know I'm not fat. That's not true. So I'm not going to give it any weight. It's not something that's active in me. So they could say, you're fat. Doesn't affect Dan necessarily the same way as maybe someone else. I don't want to say a name because God forbid that name is somebody that's out in the audience right now that's maybe having some activation with that, right? But that's kind of what happens. So a lot of us have this impression that everyone out there is affecting us, and it's not. We're being affected by them. We're choosing to take what they give us and let that affect us. It's our choice. So Ho'oponopono, I'm sorry, acceptance. You're owning the fact that my mood is me. How I feel is me. Whether I want to be angry at someone or not is me. I'm taking ownership of it. I'm sorry. Please forgive me is this side where every one of us, I think, in most things anyway, there's 2 sides, right? 2 sides to everything. And sometimes maybe they said something really horrible to you in a fight, but maybe you said something kind of prior that set them off, right? Like, well, yeah, well, I can see why your mom gave you up for adoption. You're like, whoa, like, what the hell? And then they snap back and say, well, you're a horrible B word. And you're like, yeah, you called me a B word. And that's all anyone else might ever hear of the story. But both of you kind of maybe made a mistake. So the I'm sorry part is acknowledging, look, I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. I'm letting go of this from my level. Because again, what I'm holding inside of me is what's being broadcast out to the world. So, I'm sorry. Please forgive me, self-included. Thank you, gratitude, right? You gotta throw that gratitude in there. And then love. I love you. And where it ties in with Goddard is he always talks about if you want to manifest something, you shift your consciousness. This whole Power of Awareness book has been just riddled with this, right? You shift your consciousness. And you shift your consciousness by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And he keeps beating on our heads how important feeling is. Feeling, 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 feeling. A lot of people have said, yeah, but if I can't feel it, does it matter? Yes, Goddard's saying feelings are like the whole world in his hand, right? That's feeling. That's what we're talking about with feeling. If you're not feeling it, you're not really producing an outward effect. It's the subconscious that gets interacted with the second feeling gets played out, which I've talked about as the language of the soul. So to me, it's got this kind of more like real level. I don't know, like from all the crazy stuff I've read. So by bringing ourselves into peace with relationships, maybe especially people we're trying to get back with, maybe bosses that we want a promotion from the coffee person that seems to keep making my freaking drink wrong. It doesn't matter what sibling. I just did, and I'll talk about him in a second. I just did 2 Astro letters for my brother. Me and my older brother been trying to work through something. It is what it is. And actually, I feel way better. I just did 2 of them even. It was pretty awesome. And owning up on the part of us that owns the relationship. I don't claim that I'm 100% the issue in this relationship problem that's having with my brother. But the part of it that is me, for sure. And then the other part of it is the stuff I hold against him. And I let go of that too. So by doing that, I let go of the whole constraint in the relationship. It frees up all this energy. This energy is blocked up. So like the example I wanted to use for Astro Letters, there's links, by the way, below. There's also a link below for a video that Anya, this lady Catelyn Moon, and myself did on Ho'oponopono. I'm kind of surprised I haven't done a video on it myself. It seems very odd. But I did do my Astro Letters video. That's in the description as well below. But for me, Astro Letters, and it was kind of something that had more to do with this whole concept of bless, release, and erase. I'll just cover that real quick. But whenever I've said things like, I wish you'd die, right? Oh, God. I bless, release, and erase. I wish you'd die. Like I take it back. Like, oh, sorry. So for those of you that maybe say things that you wish you wouldn't have said right after you say them, and good on you for catching that, it's a really good way to undo that and just kind of feel good about it. So I bless, release, and erase is a component of the Astro Letter. And it's just something that I've always felt very strong about because it's like it's like a triple whammy. Like I bless it. So it's already, I give it blessings. I shine light on it. I release it. I let go of this. I don't want it anymore. And I erase it. I rub it out. It's gone. What? Boo? Huh? Exactly. So the Astro Letter, say for example, I got a breakup with Angela, right? Maybe Angela and I broke up and she kind of left, right? And I was very, very hurt and she said some mean things maybe on the way out the door. And I don't know, I might have been saying some pretty bad things during that discussion. Don't know. I'm making this all up, by the way. There's no Angela. I did have a girlfriend named Angela way back when, but she's not the particular Angela in this story. It's a different one. She lived down the street, this particular made up one. But anyways. So I would say, dear Angela's higher self, I bless, release, and erase the frustration you caused me the night that you walked out that door. I forgive you for all the pain I have felt. I love you, Dan. And then I would write one, dear Angela's higher self, bless, release, and erase all the painful things that happened the night that you walked out. You said some things that were tough, and I forgive you for those. And I said some things that were pretty angering that I forgive myself for saying. I love you, Dan. And then I'd maybe do one last one. Dear Angela's higher self, I bless, release, and erase the frustration I was feeling with you that night and feeling with myself. And I forgive you for being a part of that experience. I love you, Dan. And then what you do is you read them out loud, you burn them, and boom, you feel a billion times better. And it's extremely powerful when we can let go of the anger that we have. A lot of people talk about how do you do it. These are 2 techniques that work really well. Ho'oponopono, and then the less weird version, or the more weird version, sorry, is mine. But I learned this from a teacher I was in, and it's just had an amazing effects. A bunch of people have tried it, had amazing effects. It's just a very powerful way to clear up negative energy between you and another person. So Goddard's talking about that whole concept of what's going on inside of us. If we want to attract this thing, we need to be of that energy. We need to become feeling from that place. We need to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. We need to be in that energy space. We need to feel like we're already having that thing that we want. And by doing that, subconscious runs off and makes it so. And when we assume it and really know that it's true, we don't question it as much. And when we don't have the blockages of relationship issues, we actually rise energetically, so it's easier to feel like things are possible instead of going, well, he hurt me, though. if you've got the but he hurt me, or but she hurt me, or but I hurt them, there's always going to be that but in the back of your mind until you figure out a way to deal with that but. Baby, you got back. Anyway, it's wrong, but it's true. So, Ho'oponopono, Astro Letters, the whole concept is forgiveness, cleaning up energy, getting over things, letting go of stuff that's not helping you. If you want to have a world that's different than the world we've got right now, you've got to assume what it feels like to have that already. You've got to assume it. And if we've got problems in relationships that tie to that, and again, we piss off a boss and a boss hates us and we're like, there's no way I could ever get a raise. Yeah, you can repair relationships, I promise. Relationships with people are pretty cool. They are repairable. Even for some pretty horrific things. Some things, some people have an impossible time forgiving. If you've crossed one of those lines, it's a lesson learned. It's a lesson learned. I mean, it's one of those things where you look at it and you're like, I will never do that again. And if that's what it caused, well, it's probably benefits you in the big picture. So that is where I see Goddard and Ho'oponopono kind of coming together. I actually had, there was a verse. It wasn't really a verse, but I forgot I had this, and it's still marked. That's so fantastic. So let me share the little piece of Goddard that inspired this whole thing. It's just one paragraph, and then we'll kind of, see what little crazy thought pops out of my you-know-where, and then we'll take some Q&A. So start thinking of some questions, or your little locations of life and what's going on, and we'll see what we can do for you. But this is out of Feeling is the Secret, which, well, gee whiz, look at that. What is it? That's an awesome title. Feeling is the Secret. Think feeling only of the state you desire to realize. Feeling the reality of the state sought, and living and acting on that conviction is the way of all seeming miracles. All changes of expression are brought about through a change of feeling. A change of feeling is a change of destiny. All creation occurs in the domain of the subconscious. What you must acquire, then, is a reflective control of the operation of the subconscious. That is, control of your ideas and feelings. Chance or accident is not responsible for the things that happen to you, nor is predestined fate the author of your fortune or misfortune. Your subconscious impressions determine the condition of your world. The subconscious is not selective. It is impersonal and no respecter of persons. The subconscious is not concerned with the truth or falsity of your feeling. It always accepts as true that which you feel to be true. Because of this quality of the subconscious, there is nothing impossible to man. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and feel as true, the subconscious can and must objectify. Your feelings create the pattern from which your world is fashioned. And a change of feeling is a change of pattern. We've talked about it a lot. You want to change what's going on. You've got some sort of frustration relationship. We'll put that where y'all can see it, even though it's going to bend up probably. That's not cool. How about that? There you go. We'll do that. It's exactly how change occurs in our outer world, especially relationships with people, especially when there's anger, frustration, whatever. When this is how we experience and feel them, this is what we're manifesting with them. If we can let go of these things that are holding us back, drop the anchor, if you will, or pick it back up, really. It's probably, you don't want to just lose your anchor. It's like, bye anchor, don't ever need you again. That's like, that was expensive. But exactly. Letting go of the old ways, letting go of the things that are holding us back, forgiving, realizing that our understanding of what happened and our emotional response is ours to own. And in most cases, ours to forgive. They may suck, and they may suck again. But you can't control other people. You can influence other people, but you cannot control them. So if you're constantly worried about how someone's going to specifically behave, they're going to disappoint you, I promise. That's why they say sometimes having expectations of another only really sets you up for failure. Because you're setting the bar at a level that they're maybe not going to hit 100% of the time. And every time they miss that mark, you're going to be upset with them. And imagine how it feels to be the person on the receiving end of that constant frustration, especially when that bar keeps getting raised. You're just like, I can't do all this. So it's something to consider. Us owning, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully you guys like this. And then now, Q&A. For those of you that don't want to listen to Q&A, here's a good time to bail out on the video. But, yeah, we can see what good stuff we got coming up. We already got conversations going on. Oh, cool. All right, so Hen, she doesn't like Ho'oponopono, I'm guessing. I've looked at Ho'oponopono almost a year ago, and there's one thing I do not agree. A 6-year young kid cannot take 100% responsibility for being sexually abused or murdered, as Mabel Katz says. I would agree, and I hear there's some fuzzy areas where when it comes to children and what they were brought into, it's kind of different, right? There's a certain point in our lives where we start to take ownership for what happens with us. And children are not in that period of their life. They're being stewarded throughout life. They are not really allowed to make decisions other than, should I put that in my mouth or not? And they make that one pretty shakily as it stands, right? So those kinds of things are different. Now, you can kind of blanket the world in a black and white blanket, or you can understand that there's many, many, many shades to a lot of these things that we're talking about. But to take a hyper extreme example and say, because of this, it doesn't work, is, I think, an unfair chance at Ho'oponopono. So again, I would just offer up that, Hen, you watch a lot of my videos, so I mean, no disrespect to you, and I get where you're coming from. I don't believe that child is necessarily in full control of their world, and I really do start to think that happens more, I don't know, 13, 14, 15, right? 16, we really start making a lot more decisions on our own at that point, as much as even us as parents, I say us like I've got kids, I don't, but as parents feel like a lot of times it is that whole experience that creates this fear that many parents live with. They're like, oh my God, what are they going to do? Oh, and it's like, it's funny. It's like, thank God my mom, now all the crazy crap me and David used to do, but just saying, you don't want to know. Okay, so Jerry Hoffman, I walked away from a long-lasting relationship so I can live in the feelings of what I know. Oh, okay, sounds like maybe a breakup kind of happened. All right, well, good for you, Jerry. So you just got to follow your heart. Arthur, you can recognize those thoughts and then replace them with positive ones. Totally. Let's see if we can get to questions. The only way I want to know what you want is first to know. Good. Jerry, there's a lot of we got questions. There's someone asking a question. Kim. Okay. Dan, RadioStyle. Everyone talks about detaching from what you desire, almost to the point of not caring, but how can you really do that? So, yeah, so she's got more. The thing I'm working on, manifesting, are very dear to me, so I don't want to, supposed to act like I don't care. So here's how I feel about that. There's a difference between, like, letting go is the feeling that I keep having to trudge forward, or I keep having to do these efforts. It removes you from that because you understand that, one, you've already felt the feelings of the wish fulfilled, right? You're already experienced. You've created this reality out there. And by doing so, that reality is moving forward. So you kind of detach from the constantly noticing what's happening in the world around you, and you accept that it's unfolding like a flower, right? And you're going to check on it daily, and you're going to see what interesting things happen on a daily basis. Eventually you'll see that flower is super, super tight, and then it starts to slowly open, and you're like, oh, it's starting to open, right? But it may take days to open all the way, right? And then even once it opens, it still goes through this beauty, and the stamen pop out, and I really wish I knew more about biology, but I was a chemistry major, whatever, right? But that whole unfolding process occurs. That is, like, you accept it. You accept that portion. You don't need to question. You don't need to constantly worry about it. When they pop up in your head, when you think about them, it's perfectly okay. In fact, it's good, right? Because this is a future that you're creating. So of course they would pop up. That's what I call living in the end. So a lot of people wonder, how do you let go and live in the end at the same time? Well, the way I do it is I don't worry about constantly trying to manifest it and do, I know that's happening. I accept it. I realize it. It's accepting that it's unfolding. So I don't fight it. I know what's happening. I know I'm moving. I don't need to question that every other day because I'm still not with them. I realize it's happening. And then when they pop into my head, I think great thoughts of them. I think of them, whatever it was that made me think of them. I relate it to each other, and I'm like, we're going to totally be here. We're going to come back to this restaurant. This is going to be great. She'll love this place. Like, you live from the end. You have memories starting to create that you're going to make with this person. So now you're creating additional scenes in the relationship. So you're doing both. But it's really letting go of that. I got to keep trying. I got to keep. And it's that effort to do manifesting. Like we shoot it out of our hands, like my dude here. Like, wah-bah, right? Like it's all through the power of the finger. And it's it's through the power of the feeling, oddly. So getting yourself to that place where you feel it and you know it's real. And it's like, oh my God, this is like real. I'm tearing up because it's so amazing. That's that feeling. That's reaching that feeling. So again, very powerful. All right, that was super long. Sorry, guys, but I think that's a good question. A lot of people ask that in different ways, so hopefully that's useful. Oh, wow, thank you. I can't say your name. Sarbajat Meta. Let's see what we got going on here next. Also, what's up with this? Huh. Anyway, that's my problem, not yours. Hey, let's see what we got. Arthur's got more questions. On a beauty. Kim, you can fit. This is oddly hard today. Streets go. In context of children, it's said that they inherit their parents' thoughts and feeling. I would agree with the Streets legend. It is kind of with children. When kids are around, really the parents of those kids, their energy and their beliefs and all that stuff are really pushed onto their kids and pressed upon them. It's where most like racism and stuff is honestly learned as children from the parents, right? And then they pass this hatred of some group down. And then we hate that group for X, Y, and Z. I mean, we've got our reasons for it, but kind of really ties to what I was talking about is carrying these heavy burdens of upset feelings can over and over and over can oftentimes not help anybody. Any other authors you like related to Neville? I think F.W. Sears, Napoleon Hill teach a lot of similar aspects. I guess I like Esther Hicks a lot, regardless. Like, she didn't get just listed here. I think that Abraham Hicks thing that's going on with her is pretty cool. I've always sort of been into, I'll be honest too, channeled material. Like, I don't know, some people maybe have odd views on that. So, but that being said, there's a lot of material that has helped me in the concepts of manifestation. I'd say probably Neale Donald Walsch was one of the bigger ones, just because I read so many of his conversation books, and then the relationship with God and friendship with God and communion with God, and so many. But I loved the books because it was like all the questions I would ever want to ask God kind of ended up in these books, and I'm like, dude, the answers are awesome. So it really helped me open up from a lot of the structured restrictions I had, and helped me realize that what I'm thinking, feeling, and saying is creating. And that was really, I think, where I learned that what you think, what you say, what you do is what manifests. And he's right. So I was probably him that I really got the most from, and then Goddard kind of came in later on down the road. So that's why I think to some degree it's not hard to understand him for me, is that I've studied the concepts that Goddard learned as well. And he's just written about them in a really, really neat way. Goddard packaged them, I think, fantastically. I think Walsch did as well. But yeah, anyway. What are my favorite phrases for positive mental diet? Do you use I am, I know, I intend? Autumn Beauty. I am is a phrase that I am very cognizant of. I use it sometimes, often. I'll use it accidentally and then be like, oh, wow. And realize what I just maybe put in motion, and then I'll maybe bless, release, and erase that, or undo it, or phrase it in a positive. I would say I am for sure is, I think, probably the most powerful thing you can say, hands down. So I would list that. I know, I think are dangerous. I don't like when I say I know, frankly. I don't like that myself. That's me. I don't mean to interfere with anyone else, but I've frequently found that whenever I say I know, I tend to find out there's something I didn't just know. And so I find it to be this always happens, like one of those terms where you say it and you're like, ah, crap, something's about to come because I just asked for it, right? This always happens, and then bam, it doesn't, right? And so it's just funny how life has worked out for me. And I wanted to put actually a poll out just around jinxes and hexes, those kinds of concepts. Hex is more like someone doing it to you, but jinx is just funny. I've worked at places, right? Like, it's like, wow, it's really slow. And everyone's like, oh, you didn't just say that. Because sure enough, bam, suddenly a bus shows up right in front of the door, right? And 50 people just walk in. You're like, what? Why'd you say that? It's just funny how it works. And it's one of those things where they don't necessarily phrase it as what's about to happen. They phrase it as the opposite. It's just funny how it plays out. So I know it's dangerous. I intend, I don't know, like I'll say one I hate, and I've been really noticing how it affects me. It's not this I intend, but it's I need. I need is a bad one. I need to do something. If you catch yourself saying that about anything, seriously, anything, you notice how you keep saying it and you keep not doing it. That I need to is a very powerful way to keep yourself from something. I need to stop eating X. Like, you will continue to eat X because you continue to manifest a need to stop doing it. It's a good one. So I change it immediately to, for me, it's the gym. I've said it before, like, I need to go to the gym, and I'll say that 2-3 days. I'm like, dude, come on. And then I say, I'm going to the gym. So back to the I am thing. I'm going to the gym. It's very powerful for me. Anyway, again, I'm beating up another point, but hopefully it helps. Particularly good explanation of attachment. Nice. Okay, cool. Thank you. Hicks is consistent. I agree. I love her. Dan, have you ever received channeled information? Yeah, of course. I love this community. This is an awesome group of people. The Seth books are amazing. Yeah, I completely agree. I love Seth Speaks. I think Jane Roberts was the one I read. I don't know if there's other Seth books. I know there used to be a book in the Bible called Seth that has been removed because it spoke of some things that were not consistent with other parts. You and Anya are my favorite. Cool. I love Anya. I should have recorded with her this weekend, and I keep having problems with my schedule. I'm having a really hard time like booking time. It's just, I don't know when. Anyway, it's because I keep saying it. Anyway, book similar to Goddard, Joseph Murphy for sure. Yeah, he's a good one. He actually, supposedly, I think he was in the 20s, if I remember correctly, and from what I've read, he affected Goddard, and then there was that dude in Egypt or whatever, I forget his name, but whatever. Kit Kat's back, sweet, I love it. Can Neville, EIYPO, EIEIO, what is EY? I don't know what EIYPO is, so help me out with that, guys. I'm sure it stands for something cool, but that's just, yeah. Well, everyone knows that Neville's EIYPO is because of his YPQH and the FMJ. So both of those things kind of working together. I have no idea what that stands for. I'm just making stuff up. Yeah, if you guys can help me out with what that stands for, I might be able to answer that question. Hinder us from moving and letting go when an SP is not a match to our desire, because that thing has us believing that by assuming our SP is different, we can change them. Yeah, I honestly think, so I guess I'll talk about it because it's a question I get a lot, and I think it's a perspective that many of us need to consider. I still don't know what the hell EIYPO stands for, but all that being said, the idea of wanting to be with someone that you want them to change, usually, I guess there's a couple ways to look at it. When did you attract them to you? At a place in your life where maybe you were insecure, maybe things, right, and you've maybe gotten better, you've been working on yourself, all this kind of stuff. Now you're looking at your partner and going, I wish you were more than you are, and they're being resistant. That happens because people are growing evolving in a spiritual path, and sometimes others don't want to come along with. You can't force someone to change. When we attract people that we were at a different place and now we're at a different place because we've grown, because we've been studying things, we've learned, and we keep trying to get them to follow it, right? We're trying to change somebody, and it doesn't work well. What happens really is better is when you get to this new level, this new place of understanding, this new idea, energy, this new love of life, and you open yourself up to new experiences instead of trying to make old ones work, you'll be amazed at how things open up in your life. And it's like instantly. And a lot of the times the block is that we're trying to hold on to something that it doesn't want to change. Like, I know people want to say you can do anything with law of attraction and that they don't have free will. I don't know. I'm probably the wrong teacher because I've had experiences where it just seemed like it was better that it didn't work out. And in hindsight, like, I look back on it, I'm like, thank God I didn't manifest that person because of maybe what happened. There was one lady ended up in jail because of some stuff, and it wasn't too terribly long after I was wanting to date her. So like, woo, wow, dodge that bullet. So I don't know. I've seen times in my life where thank God the answer was no, and it's almost like my higher self knows better. But it's always everyone's choice. As a law of attraction coach type person, you have to say everything's possible, and it is. I truly believe it. But there are, I think, times where maybe we're a little out of sync with what we're trying to create. And that's where he talks about naturalness. Like, even Goddard's got some fuzzy places where he sort of hides behind. And like, I try to too sometimes because, like the 6-year-old question. Yeah, there is definitely contradictions that people can come up with. A lot of them are hyperbolic. Sometimes stuff just works out the way it is. So law of attraction works perfectly 85, 90% of the time. It's really pretty good if you think about it. But that is difficult about it. probably just lost a bunch of people because of that. You say negative things and you're done, even if you're trying to be honest about the way stuff is. Let's see. Vivian on his motivation channel. She's probably got some subs. You guys want to check her out, feel free. Hi, Dan. Love your episode of Isn't It Wonderful? It is truly probably one of my favorite episodes, by the way. I think it's probably second highest video, too, as far as numbers. Really made an impact on the mister. That is really, really cool. Yeah, that is, by the way, any of you, just look up Isn't It Wonderful on my channel if you haven't seen it for some weird reason. It's a great video. I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but it was Goddard's work. But it created, in my mind, an amazing connection between transitions when we're changing. It's really, really good stuff. Peter Cass, what are your thoughts on self-sabotage when you're starting to see excellent results? So, yeah, that's a great question, Peter. A lot of times, many of us, we get close and close and close, and there's a couple different ways we'll sabotage. One, we always assume it fails right when we get close, so it does. So there's that self-sabotage, there's that version of it. There's also the version of it that it's almost like the psychic syndrome, if you will, where you know what's going to happen, and you know it so truly, and you love them so much, but you really haven't let them catch up to the relationship. You haven't allowed them, because they haven't spent the past 9 months thinking about you maybe the same way. Like, you got them to go out on the first date with you, but you're probably going to need 5 dates before they totally open up, maybe, right? I'm just saying, this is sometimes the way people are. Like, we don't just instantly, like, yeah, look at me, tell you everything, bah, 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 right? Like, sometimes it's a little weird, especially nowadays where being socially together in real life is almost weird, right? Like, so many people meet online. Like, I met him on Instagram. It's like, whoa, like, that's, like, to me is weird. Like, oh, I met him at the grocery store. I met him at school. I met him, like, some place where people were. But, yeah, now we got technology. You don't need to go anywhere and meet people. So it is amazing. And I swear I had a point that I was heading into that. Isn't it wonderful? And it was back starting to see excellent results. Yes, the other way we sabotage, yes, when we love somebody that much, we can be smothering. We can be oddly like expecting them to be at the same place. We can be so mushy in the fact that we push them away. Like, there's a lot of fun little ways that we can sabotage ourselves. Ultimately, what I've called don't change what you're doing when you get close to that end result. I've done a video on it, and I've just made the name of it way longer. But ultimately, keep doing what you've been doing when you're getting there. Don't change it. Now that you're getting close, now that you're actually on that first date, don't change what you've been doing. Don't. You might be miles ahead if it's a situation where we've been fantasizing about this for eons, right? Or if it's an ex relationship, then kind of let it play out. But let it play out is ultimately what happens. Let it unfold. Let the flower unfold. Now that you see it opening up, don't just start pulling the whatever the flappy things are. The petals. Don't start pulling those off. So there you go. Oh gosh, I see a question coming up that I love. The book. Oh, Book of it was, yeah. Let's see. Life is beautiful. My SP hasn't been with me for 2 years now. We don't even talk, and he's been with someone else for 1.5 years. We have a year-old together. How do I know if I should keep manifesting my SP or not? I feel like this is something you kind of say to yourself a lot. Like, we haven't been together for this long. We haven't, like, you keep putting that time frame on how long you maybe haven't been together. Like, whenever you talk about him, whenever you think about him, I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like every time he pops into your head, you've got this whole separation. He's way in the past, right? And you're way ahead of that, and he's not there. And I think by looking at it like that constantly, you're keeping it from happening. Look forward. I don't care how long you haven't been together. How long until you are together, right? Start looking forward. Start coming at it from that angle, like looking out into the horizon when maybe on your child's second birthday, though I don't like setting dates, I'm just saying, like, looking out, like maybe he'll be there. Like, putting it out forward instead of always relating backwards. You're never going to get anywhere relating backwards, ever. Ever. You're never, ever, ever going to get anywhere relating backwards. You got to look forwards. A lot of people talk about trying to change the past. I get it. You can. You can work on it anyway. I don't recommend it. But change in the forward. Changing right now, it's what we're talking about with altering our consciousness with Ho'oponopono. The second you change yourself now, your tomorrow is created anew. You can never recreate what happened a year ago. Ever. Never. But I can create a new tomorrow. I can create a new 5 minutes from now. So try to look forward, and hopefully that will help make a difference for you. I won't be able to listen to reply because I'm working busy breakfast. Well, that's a bummer. Sorry, Diane. You're awesome. You were the one that, the Mr. Anderson. She's married to somebody, and the Neale quote, and I love that because I used to work for with a person named Anderson, and I used to always tease her about that because the Neale, Mr. Anderson, for those of you that have seen The Matrix. Anyway, whatever. I'm a problem. What do you think about tarot cards and psychics? These are a few of my favorite things. First off, tarot cards I love, but doing my own readings. I actually got a reading from a lady one time, and the reading was meh. It was okay, and it wasn't good, bad. I'm not saying tarot across the board. It was just, I tried it one time just to see. She actually burped on the reading. It threw me away. She's like, sorry, I drink soda. And it was just like, she burped like twice. I'm like, this is not okay. But whatever. I love tarot. I've done a lot of readings for myself. I've done them like once or twice for others, but I don't particularly like doing that at all, and don't do it, I should say. But yeah, I love them. Love tarot. I usually use solitaire, to be honest with you. It's just another way I've learned to play with. It works for me when I do readings anyway, as a means of like the logical part of my brain stays busy on a very mundane, easy task that I do not have to think about, right? And it allows that other creative part of my brain to sort of like have conversations, if you will, or think about things, or allow things to come in. And it's really that helps for me. So the cards with tarot are cool because they have kind of stories and they're indicative of certain things. And then you lay them out in a specific way after shuffling it. It's just a very cool, I put my own energy into these cards, these physical things, and they're about to help show me something. Some people can be very, they're of the devil. And you know, and if you believe that, don't do it. That's like bad. Like I don't use Ouija boards. I'll say that. I don't use them. Will I recommend or not recommend? That's about all I'm going to say about those. So there you go. Yeah. And psychics get how you feel right now. This is one thing I think it's really important for people to understand is they're picking up on where you are right now, the second. And this is your probable future based off of where you are right now, based off of your consciousness, your energy, what you've been thinking, your whole mojo for right now. And it can change immediately. Immediately, I've seen a lot of people where the psychic said, this is going to happen. You're going to be with so-and-so. And the first time you see so-and-so, you screw it up because you know you're going to be together. And then you treat them like they know that already too. And sometimes they don't. So a lot of the times by being told what your probable future is, most of us will change our course of action. And we'll do it, well, if it's a bad future, we can change our course of action, almost guarantee make that bad future not happen, which is great. But I've seen it with good things. Like, it's really hard to just keep doing what you're doing when you know it's going to work, right? It's really hard to do that because a lot of the times you start to get excited and you want to do other crazy stuff. And so that's where we will screw up a positive psychic read future, probable future. So that being said, psychics, it's rare to get them that really, really, really are gifted. And so I don't know, that take that for what it's worth. Do I use them? No. I have. I've got twice. I've gotten readings from two enormously gifted people. And then I actually dated a woman that was very talented. Like weirdly so. Like I lost stuff a couple times and would call her and she would help me find it. I was pretty good at it myself, but there were a couple times where I'm like, feels like it's blocked. It's like it's under something. I can't figure out. And I'm like, what do you think? And she'd give me a better idea of what room. And I'd be like, I'd go in there and maybe there was a pillow and right. And I'd lift, right. Like it was just, anyway, so good times. I shouldn't be talking about that type of stuff. Hey, the Dodgers they didn't do good. Anyway, let's talk about, KYPO finally. Everyone, you pushed out. Okay. Yeah. I know a lot of people love that Kit Kat. A lot of people love that. They say that. They claim that. I've seen the few places where Goddard says it. The one place where I saw it is the world is you pushed out, not everyone. And I feel like that quote's kind of, I don't know. I'm waiting to come into the part in the book where it really truly says it exactly that way because I really do have issue with everyone as you pushed out as a very strong blanket statement that I feel like ignores some aspects of what it is or how it plays out. Because it just, to me, it plays out in a lot of different ways. But I feel like a lot of people think that then that other person is us. And I know there's places maybe where Goddard says, again, I will cover it. So I don't want to speak from, I speak from my understanding of this concept, but I want to see what Goddard has to say on it. So I guess I'll stop there. I don't want to upset anybody, but I love it. And it works in a lot of cases, seriously. But I feel like it's just a very heavy blanket statement. Good morning. Jeremy with an X. Jeremy. Does it really work, though? Kind of new to this stuff. I need testimonies. Yeah. Hey, you guys all chime in. You guys are all the ones that have done your small stuff. I mean, yeah, I think so. But, I mean, I'm not selling any books, dude, right? Jeremy, whatever. Like, I mean, other than people that donate, and that's because they like the videos I do, and I get a little bit of money from Google because of the videos. But outside of that, I'm like, I don't do anything. So I'm talking about it because I love this stuff, and I actually think it's amazing that we're taking ownership of our own thoughts and words and deeds, right? And we're actually owning what we're sending out into the world, us pushed out, by the way. So that's where I said it's more extreme than people just, everyone is you. It's like how the world is us pushed out. Anyway, Jeremy with an X. Sharon, Simeon, maybe, I don't know. Good morning, Dan. Great to see you. Oh. Well, hello. Nice to see you as well. Crap. Jumped a bunch. Where are you? I'm sorry. Sometimes when I scroll, it jumps like way further than it should have. Jeez, it jumped really far. There we are, I think. The best, lots of numbers, 2011. Looking forward to a financial windfall. What is the best way to prepare? Does anyone know what inspired action to take towards it? Synchronicities 24/7, by the way, as well. It's awesome. Just being open to, I don't know what you're trying to do money-wise, but being open to any avenue that could potentially lead to more money. Like if someone walks up to you and shakes your hand, probably have a quick discussion with them. Just see what happens if this is an inspired moment, something real that's come into your life right now because of what you're trying to create, right? So be looking for stuff like that. If you're getting signs, that's great. I don't know exactly what it is, but be looking in the directions of, just be open, ready to go. If you're trying to make it happen, then, get out there and make it so. If there's a very specific thing, keep focusing on it, do whatever you need to do. Like, that's the thing where I think Goddard, I'm looking for him to spell it out a little better, but he really focuses on if you keep holding that vision, that feeling of the wish fulfilled, if you keep heading in that direction, you just naturally do things towards it. And that's one thing he hints at, but he hasn't really straight up said it. But you really do. It opens you up. So when you hold that consciousness of the wish fulfilled, the one thing that's really awesome is the things that you need to do, you'll do. You'll be there at the right time. So just be open. Be excited because stuff's going to pop into your life, and that is going to be how you're going to know when you should do inspired action. There's no, tomorrow at 4:26 p.m., your time zone, so-and-so's going to come up to you. You need to talk to them. It doesn't work like that. No, it might be actually the day before when so-and-so pops up to you randomly at the coffee shop. Have a discussion with them. See what happens. Who knows? Maybe he knows somebody at a company, right? So it's very cool how life unfolds. By the way, to the person that was like, does this stuff work? Oh my God. And then when you finally get to the place where you trust it more, things just unfold. It's exciting. Like you really, really, really get to experience like magic every day almost. Like weird, odd coincidences happen on a regular basis to the point where you stop calling them coincidences, obviously. You're like, I don't personally believe in coincidence because I know it's caused by me. And it's why it's a coincidence is I was just talking about that and then it happened. Well, gee whiz, I wonder why. So it is. It's kind of fun how it plays out. Peter's back in there. Thank you. You're awesome, man. Thank you, sir. Keeping it Rhea. What's the best teachings to get back with an ex who constantly says they've moved on and only wants to be friends? The F word is what I've called that my whole life, because there's another F word I frequently use, and yeah. Anyways, first off, forgiveness things, great. So the stuff we talked about earlier, if you haven't watched the video, I do recommend just watching at least the first 15, 20 minutes of it when it comes back out, because I really, really talk about Pono, this Astro letters technique, and really how Goddard kind of talks about how that's going to benefit us. So I tie all three of those wonderful little worlds together, and I think hopefully in a good way. So that does help talk about relationships. Other than that, I frequently talk about the whole idea of manifesting, just to speak to your point really quick. When people try to manifest, especially when they come to it because something's happened in their life, they're wanting to change. What that means is right now, in your current reality, you're not happy about the way it is. There's something that's wrong. Something's not right. Something's not how you want it. Something needs to change. So everybody that's trying to manifest a difference in their life is looking at some sort of obstacle. Doesn't matter what that obstacle is. Doesn't matter. Law of attraction creates this kind of concept where you see yourself from the place that you're going, or where you're going to be, if you will. And almost by feeling it, and again, that's an important part, you see it, and then you feel it as though you've already got this thing. Like, what would it feel like if you guys were back together, right? And you were the girl instead of the other one. What would that feel like? You focus on that. You think about that. You have images of that. You're holding each other. You're back in bed together. Whatever you're, in the shower having fun. Whatever. I don't know. I'm having fun right now, right? So, well, who knows what images you're holding that get you to that place where you feel like you guys are back together. When you hold that thought, you create this almost bridge back to yourself, if you will. Doesn't matter what obstacles, that bridge back to you doesn't care about the obstacles. So you keep that vision in mind. You keep thinking that way. You don't accept what is your current obstacle. I've talked about the radio thing I used to do. I was I made it a big. I was an overnight DJ at a big station in a reasonably good town. I never accepted the fact that I didn't have the job as a reason to stop going for it, ever. You have to keep that vision as your focus, regardless of what's showing up right now, because that's what you're changing. So instead of looking at this thing in front of you, be like, I don't know how to get around this. Don't worry about it. Go to the place that you're going to be, and the path will create itself. Maybe they break up. Maybe she finds someone else. Who knows? There's a lot of ways relationships like that can change. And I did a video not long ago. I mean, it can change like that. Like literally, you could get a text message in the middle of this video. It could change right now. So that's the thing that so many of us kind of lock ourselves into is we see this obstacle, and for some reason it's impervious to anything I could ever do. No, it's not. It's a thing. Walk around it. Shoot. Seriously, come on now. So that's the thing, is there's always a way. And that's what I've always beat into myself for sure. And I always try to get other people to understand. There's always a way. Everything can change in a moment's notice. Literally, it could change right now. Stay the course. Stay a focus. Stop paying too much attention to what's not right now. Pay more attention to what is right now. What is going correctly right now. You'd probably be surprised how many things are actually working out pretty darn good. And I will say the other side of that is when you look at your right now more like that, you actually find that you feel better most of the time, especially when you realize how many things are going well right now. Maybe there's one or two that suck. Okay. But there's probably like half a dozen or more that are good, right? So that's the thing. And it really helps shift the mood away from this everything sucks and I hate life to, wow, man, like, no, life's pretty good. And I see that there is a better tomorrow. And yes, him and I are going to be together again someday soon. Like, that's going to happen. So you got to hold that belief. You have to hold that belief, hold that image, feel it, and it will come true. All right, where are we going here? I like your name. Rainer Wells. So Dan, can you give an example? Say your car got repossessed, but you have been concentrating on prosperity. What would be your next logical steps? Deny this is so bad? Honestly, when we get ourselves to a point where cars are getting repossessed and right, like I feel like you've kind of already sort of like you're hitting this from a little late. Like you've probably been getting warning signs that things aren't going well. I don't know if changes are occurred, but that's one of the things that Goddard kinds of talks about is when we're at places like this, obviously a transition needs to occur. I honestly would recommend to you, and I don't know if you've watched it, but the Isn't It Wonderful Technique video that I did would probably be really helpful to you, but you're in a moment of transition, and it's extremely hard to see much of anything when you're in the darkest before dawn. It's just freaking dark out there, right? It's hard to see. But it's when you understand that this is the moment where change is going to occur, where things are happening, where you're transitioning into this newer version of yourself that is prosperous. Maybe this car's got some karma I don't know. I mean, I'm going to make some stuff up about it, right? Maybe it's not worth it. Maybe you owe more money on it than it's actually worth. Maybe the fact of losing it and hurting your credit for a short period of time might actually do you more benefit than keeping it. I don't know, but I know a lot of the times when we work really hard to manifest something and then weird things start happening, a lot of the times we're shedding the crap so we can make room for the good that we're creating. And a lot of the times it really is. It's like a snake shedding its old skin, right? It's literally getting rid of something that actually would kill you if you kept it in the case of the snake, right? If he doesn't shed his skin, he'll die. So you've got to do that. You've got to shed the parts of you that are of the more dense energy. That's kind of how I've always seen it, is as we evolve up this chain of spirituality, whatever, like we can call it what we want, but I think Goddard and controlling our thoughts is so in line with that. But as we work higher and higher up it, you're lighter and lighter, your energy gets more and more frequent, like it's higher frequency, and you have to shed like older, more dense, more old ways. And as we do that, it's kind of like, the cream rising to the top, right? It's just, I don't know, it's weird. It's weird how it starts to play out, but as that energy shifts in us, your world shifts, your view shifts, what you see and experience shifts. And that transition is weird when you round out at a place, right? When you finally made the changes that you're working on making, and your life starts to change. I mean, I've told it one time, I got laid off from a job, and literally within 3 weeks, I was starting at my new job. I got laid off, I had my condo, and I was freaking out. Like, how the hell am I going to pay for this? Literally within a week, I basically scheduled an interview in person, had that. They made an offer a week later, and I ended up at a job that actually got me moving down coding. I was actually doing some really cool stuff that I was able to hang my hat on and actually helped get me where I'm at right now. So one thing leads to another, which leads to another, which leads to another. And like steps rising in your house to the upper floor, you take them one at a time, sometimes 2 at a time, but you sure as hell aren't taking 8 of them at a time. You're not. You just can't. I mean, you could, I guess, you could rig a thing. But then what's the point of having a friggin' stair? Just put a damn elevator in, right? Come on. So, I don't know. Hopefully that plays some help to you. Because, yeah, again, focusing on all the things that are going wrong never gets us anywhere. So trying to focus on what's going right is awesomeness. Purple Lava. I love you. 77. I just love the name. I always have. I say that every time I read it. I've manifested money in relationships. Yeah, so she's talking about it. A friend of mine contacting me that I haven't heard from in a while. So, yep, stuff just starts to open up. It's really, really cool how all of that happens. Life is beautiful. You're quite welcome. Jerry's rocking and rolling. He's really going to ask asking the how of the testimony. Let's see if you continue to... Okay, Brittany, what happens if you continue to attract the same person over and over again throughout a long period of time? Not on purpose. You've changed a lot yourself, and they've always come to you when you're asking for love. I really feel like the answer is kind of in your question. Like, you see what you're asking, right? Why do they keep showing up when you're asking for love? I wonder. I wonder why every time I keep asking for love, someone shows up. Maybe go on a date with him? I don't know. Is there something wrong with him? Is he like a monster? Does he have a horn sticking out of his head? Is he crazy? I feel like I should be like... Anyway, I'm sorry I'm making light. It sounds like maybe I would consider going out with the guy once, right? I don't know. Get to know him better. You might be surprised who he is on the inside, and then you're just like, oh my God, I never realized. I've heard that story a bunch of times. So yeah, this sounds like a place where it would be a good idea to consider maybe checking him out. Maybe he's the guy that like the Kenny Rogers song, right? Looking for love in all the wrong places, right? That whole thing. So maybe you've been looking for love in all the wrong places. Maybe it's time to take a look at this dude. I've been the right guy, and with girls that have been looking for. I've been that dude before. I could totally relate. It's good times. Anywho, yeah, there you go, Brittany. Keeping it real. What's the best technique to get back? You already asked. Okay, I've already answered at least. Jerry Hoffman. Oh, cool. I love how you guys help each other, man. This is so super cool. Let's see. Anybody got questions? Even that @Dan always helps. I will say that much. Hey, Dan, love your show. Thank you, ARSL 2020. I've committed to a long-distance relationship, but she has recently been silent. Tarot says this is my trial period. Can you give me some pointers on what to look for? Well, if it is a trial period, I'm gonna assume the tarot reading's right because it's just easier from this point of view. That means that you should probably trust that everything's going well. Give her the benefit of the doubt. Assume that she's just busy. Know that she misses you too. And she will contact you in whatever way she can as soon as possible. really coming at it from those angles, and you give them the benefit of the doubt. If you don't trust and all that, like, there's bigger problems. But yeah, no, just give them the benefit of the doubt. And if this is quote unquote your trial, then just be cool. Because if you're going to be needy and all that stuff, trust me, long distance relationships start to get very dicey very quickly when we start getting weird. It becomes much easier to just not call someone back than to deal with weirdness. I'm just going to throw that out there. So something to keep in mind. Sippy. San Diego, California. Jerry, you're out there. That's awesome. I'm just north of you. Anyway, Orange County area. So, woohoo. Good on you. Dan, have you watched Catherine Ponder? I have not. Dirty Mint. My kind of mint. With law of attraction and Neville Goddard ways of thinking, do you think the results are more building up your subconscious to achieve a particular goal, or more magic like winning the lottery? Or, the answer I'll give, subconscious, first off, a lot of people speak of it kind of more from this, like Jung maybe, or what's the other guy? I'm drawing a blank on the other famous shrink. Wow, it's so... Anyway, doesn't matter. Whoever the other famous guy is, it's so horrible that I can't think of the dude's name. But yeah, the subconscious, we're not so much talking about, from the standpoint of Neville and law of attraction, the subconscious is the part that actually does the manifestation. It does the creation. It actually runs out and goes, put all the pieces together, builds Lego blocks, goes out there with, makes it so. It's when it feels something, the subconscious takes action. So we think about things from a conscious level, and then we feel it. And once we feel it, that creates the action for the subconscious to go out and make whatever that feeling was a reality. So you're not like looking to magic of the win the lottery. Especially in the case of wealth, if you're really looking for wealth, expand your understanding of money. Expand what are you going to do when you've got $100,000 in the bank? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about how much, what kind of money, over 100,000 is, right? What is $10,000 a month? When you start thinking about that and rationalizing, what kind of place would I live at? Where would I be living? Where am I going to, have my house, my car, whatever? When you start thinking about the bigger picture and you start to feel what it's going to be like to come from that place, you will start to see and experience a different reality. I feel like I'm breaking up. I keep noticing the thing is connection says excellent though, so I don't know what's going on. Or it's not excellent. I don't know. Hopefully it gets better. I have cable modem. It should be great. Anyway, so it's very important to come at it from that angle. You want to actually be the wealth. You want to actually be of that energy where because this is what wealthy people, like for what I do is I've got a couple buddies that are super wealthy. And I hang out with them, and I have coffee with them, and I talk with them, and I listen to them, and I ask them questions about investing and what sorts of ideas are good for investing. And when you start to think and feel and act from that place, you start to attract more money. It's just kind of how it flows. You don't keep managing, and I just talked about this in the last video I did, like Goddard, one of the big mistakes many of us make is we think about the money, or we think about the person, or we think about the thing. But it's not the thing that actually creates it. It's the feeling of what if I have that thing already? What if you had $1 million right now? What would you be doing? How would you be dressed? How would you be feeling? The level of confidence when you walk on the store. How many times do you catch yourself when you go into the store and you don't buy something or you buy the thing that's on sale instead? Now, I will say, even I, oftentimes, well, if there's 2 cans of vegetables and maybe one's, Green Giant and the other one's like Del Monte, and Del Monte's on sale. Oh yeah, I'm buying Del Monte. It's the same friggin' thing as far as I'm concerned, right? Now, I think there's a difference between the name brand and the store-bought, but it's just really the size and the quality of the I just know. I mean, I know that because I was in the business, but they're basically the same thing. So I don't even care that much there. But anyway, off track, off subject. But if we're looking at things that way, that's one thing that people that are wealthy don't do. You don't like coupon shop, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with getting coupons. It's fun for some people. I'm just saying that mentality that I need to collect coupons so I can save water. Oh, I need to turn that light off because I'm burning electricity. I'm wasting money. Like, it's that consciousness that creates more of a lack versus, I'm not saying turn all your lights on and just walk around. Like, that's not smart. I'm not saying spend money you don't have. That's not smart either. But I'm saying it's raising that feeling of having money where you don't really worry about it. Maybe instead when you turn the lights off, it's more efficient. It's better for the environment. That's an easy way to change that attitude and stop making it about money. kind of those types of things. Start trying to shift stuff into other ways, you know? There you go. Hopefully that helps. I don't know. I love Dirty Mint, though. It's an awesome name. Purple Lava, cool. Arthur, yeah, if you could hold those pictures, cool. You guys are going back and forth. Keeping it Rhea, I do tend to have emotional outbursts with her. How can we practice emotional guidance and build emotional maturity? That comes with time. I hate to say it, keeping it Rhea. But yeah, the controlling our emotions or being able to control outbursts. I mean, blaming somebody for something that's kind of outside their control is something that a lot of people do when they try to control everything. So are you? Are you trying to control this situation? Are you trying to control this relationship? Because these are damaging things with other people. No one wants to be controlled. Some people might like guidance. Some people might like having an idea of, what do you want me to do? But I don't want to be forced or controlled. So we've got to be careful when we are not showing our best side. You know, I mean, meditate before you guys hop on a call. Maybe, it sounds stupid, but you could have some crystals with you or something if that helps keep you calm. I know like orange calcite might be a good one, and maybe one of the darker quartz, like the black ones, one of those. I don't know, just saying. There's a lot of things you can try. You've got to really work on the issues that are causing the outburst. Those are hidden sores within us that will keep popping out. And until those are actually remedied, talked about, I mean, we talked about the beginning of this, maybe watch the re-recording, or, once this is done from being live, you can watch the beginning part where I talk about Ho'oponopono or astral letters. Forgiveness. Whatever it is that you're frustrated with this person about, let it go, forgive it, Ho'oponopono your way out of it. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And then earlier I gave a great example of how astral letters work, and there's a link below if you want to just check out the video. And but that's going to help you a lot. But yeah, trying to get it's not going to, that anger is going to cause problems. There's a repulsion going on there. There's something at work inside of you that needs to be loved. You need to give that a hug, whatever, that part of yourself, and hopefully get, find a way to let go of this. Caesar, yeah, you've been commenting recently. You're a newer name. I have a question regarding about manifestation. My sis and I have been visualizing about each other's SPs. She got a request on a dating app of a guy that's named and looks younger than the one she is trying to manifest. And a similar incident happened to me with a new girl I just met. What could that be? Maybe it's the birds before land, as I think Anya at least has said. Maybe it's just the getting closer, kind of, and maybe that's where you just need to refine your request a little bit and just say, all right, I want someone younger. Now, I will say, I don't know, I don't want to say, yes, just do it that way. I don't want to get into what the depths of that. Keeping it Rhea, thank you. That was very, very sweet of you to do that. That was awesome. I love it. That's fantastic. Sippy, there you are. I don't know whether people ask this question, but does is semen retention important while practicing LOA? Sippy, I don't believe so. I think it depends on how you're doing that. I've heard there's issues with keeping the energy in from a spiritual standpoint. I've heard some religions that have problems with spilling your seed. So there's a lot of different angles to come from this. I'll be honest, I love myself often enough. So whatever, do what you got to do, man. I think it's not worth getting too angry about. Let's see here. Arthur, Melanie's probably. I think about people who hurt me or negative scenarios. I don't know why, but I definitely don't want to manifest any of this. How do I stop thinking about things that don't benefit me? So you maybe missed the beginning of this, which is fine. I recorded it. Literally the first 20 minutes of this live stream. Check it out. I talk about Ho'oponopono. I talk about how that ties in with Goddard. And then I even bring up my astral letters thing, which I've had great success with. Even wrote a couple this morning before I started this show for someone that I felt better. I mean, I just instantly felt better. So those are two really, really, really good approaches. Find one that you like. Like I said, there's links below. I definitely want my original astral letters video, but I talk about it specifically in this particular video. So that should hopefully help. Blasian Beauty. That's so funny. Anyway. My happened to me last year and this year. I changed my whole vibration and went deep into self-healing and meditation, and boom, life is looking good. Blasian Beauty, do me a favor, though. comment below, and this is just because you're speaking of something that's super important to me. You kind of started to change your whole vibration, and then you said, all right, world, show me, bring love to me now, or whatever, right? If you can, just give a little, like, you're starting to see different things, aren't you? Like, it's like things that you, a year ago, were probably not even remotely possible, and now are happening in different ways. I don't know if you might be willing to share a couple examples. I mean, hopefully, but that's awesome. Good on you. Jerry, thank you, buddy. That's super cool of you to do as well. Rambo, I love Rambo. They drew first blood. Love that show, man. No question today. Oh, just thank you for all you do. That's awesome, man. No first blood today, huh? Anyway, at Melanie she's talking to, at Melanie Purple keeping it. Do you? Okay. Fit Sweet BSB. Hey, Dan, how can we fix a bad situation when we react emotionally to it? Does it ruin our manifestation work? First, when you feel something emotionally, when you feel something, your subconscious immediately runs out to create more of it. So even if it's a negative feeling, even if it's a sucky feeling, whatever it was that you were thinking about in your mind prior to feeling it, and then you felt it, and you're going to create more of it. Like, that's running out there. So really important to try to get those things under control. Go back to the Ho'oponopono and all that crap, right? That being said, so you're on track with all that. Revisions, yes, definitely. Revisions is a great way to try to revise your immediate thought. I've talked about also, I say, I bless, release, and erase. If I say, I wish you would die, and I'm like, I bless, release, and erase, I wish you would die, then that's a very, very good way to pull back what you just sent out to the universe. Now, if you're thinking about something and daydreaming on it, and then you get angry or frustrated, yeah, you're spending a lot of time on it, so you can't just bless, release, and erase it as much at that point. So revision's a good one. Maybe going back to that thought and trying to, like you said, revising it towards a positive. But yeah, we all want to work on trying to keep negative emotions from just ruining the day. It's okay to feel them and love them and like and experience them. You don't want to try to avoid them, but it's not a negative feeling. It's the fact that you're having a feeling, right? That's what can create it. So if you need to get over something, experience and feel it, that's fine. Use the time you need to use to do it, but don't do it for days and days and days and days and days and days, because you draw out that experience. At some point, you've got to go, all right, I'm done feeling this. I've cried enough tears, whatever. I'm moving on. And it's usually at that point that we stop all this depression and horrible stuff. So we've got to take some of that ownership back. So yes, revisions are a great way. And the best way to do something after the reaction is, again, try to reaction, once you've had the reaction, like if you've got anger or frustration, you need to heal that. You need to stop trying to be reactive, because the fact that so it's kind of like, let me give us a quick analogy, and it's one that I think all of us can relate to. So, maybe I get cut off. I don't want to use that one. Maybe we have issues where sometimes people treat me poorly, right? And so every time someone treats me poorly, I get frustrated and I'll treat someone else poorly because I'm frustrated and I'm angry. And when I'm treating someone else poorly, it's like, I don't care. Someone else treated me poorly, or they treated me poorly, and I'm going to treat them poorly back. And what we think is that we're giving it back what they gave to us. But what we forget is we created the thing that they gave to us initially. We sent out some vibe. We were pushed out in some sort of way where we attracted an experience back from someone who was perfectly willing to play a part in that. And then because we created something that sucked and bothered us, we send it back out again thinking we're justified. But what we just did is continued the cycle. You will get it back again. The only way to stop malicious behavior to yourself in the cases of reaction is to stop reacting. That's what they mean when they say, when someone slaps your one cheek, turn the other cheek and offer it up to them. Reason being, if you slap them back, they're definitely going to hit you again. If you turn the other cheek, they might not hit you again. And that's how you stop it. You don't stop it by hitting them back. It's that reaction that many of us do that causes so many bad actions that we're constantly revisiting. Stop, turn your other cheek, just try to do something different rather than always the same thing that we've done before. So my opinion is there's something at work, and this, like if I was coaching you, I would say there's something at work going on under the covers, if you will, under the sheet, under the skin, under the hood. that's where I would focus the attention. Any discussion I would ever have with you would be focused there and trying to figure out what's going on. Then the other stuff kind of stops happening all on its own. And really, I talk about kind of, I feel like what you're sort of doing is trying to put a Band-Aid on a situation rather than actually treating the wound or eating properly or whatever is causing it, right? Like trying to treat it rather than just keep smacking a Band-Aid on top of something, right? Just throwing affirmations on top of this anger that resides just under the surface, is always waiting to pop out and scream at someone. There's an anger problem. Let's deal with that. Let's not keep trying to figure out ways to affirm my way out of it. So hopefully that helps. Cool. Do the revision tech. Brittany, thank you. Josephine DeMarco, what are your tips for manifesting for others? Just see them telling you that something worked out. Maybe the excitement, if it's something like someone's manifesting a boat, then you get to go on it with them. That's always fun. But yeah, just see them telling you that things are working out and working beautifully. It's always a good way to do that. If it's an issue of someone that's maybe doing bad behaviors, I've had people like mothers, for example, that maybe had kids that were had substance abuse problems. A lot of times it's really better to try to come at it from more of a loving and them kind of coming to the understanding of why they quit rather than us trying to force them to quit. There's a very big difference between those two approaches. And I used to smoke. I mean, that was my addiction, but it was pretty gnarly from what everyone says. And for sure, I experienced it as such. But people that would try to make me quit could never do it, especially people that have never been addicted to something. Now, people that had smoked before and were telling me to quit, well, I'd listen to them again, right? But I would never listen to someone that had never done it because they don't. That's the thing, was you don't understand something. It's really hard to give advice on it. So it's better to hear them coming to you and saying, I finally quit smoking because, I conquered that nicotine beast inside of me. And, I read a great book, Alan Carr, The Easy Way to Stop Smoking, for those of you that are interested. Great book. I literally, it says smoke while you read it. And I did. And like at 11:44 on November 17th, 6 years ago, almost to the date. Oh, wow, getting close to my anniversary. I put out my last cigarette while reading that book. So, yeah, fantastic stuff. I had a point in there somewhere. I don't know what it was. My curls. Hey, Dan, just wanted to update with progress. Cool. My SP came around again. This time he stayed the night. I want to spend it with you. Nothing spicy happened. Ooh. But when we woke up, he cuddled me. Oh, my God, that's just wonderful. So then, again, kind of was talking about this earlier for anybody that's been here for this entire long video. But, when we get close and you don't want to start getting crazy and doing stuff all different, you want to kind of keep consistent with what's been working. And good job, my girls. That's fantastic. I love it. That is really, really cool. Matthew Stringer, sexual acts are necessary for sacral chakra. There's actually other ways to work with your sacral chakra without that, but yes, I mean, I'm kind of that ilk a little bit. Wow, Bladen, me too. I have him on my YouTube, Instagram. I don't know why you're sharing links. I guess you can, whatever. It's live. I don't normally like links. Jerry, thank you again, I guess. That's really awesome. Okay, just bounced past a lot of people. Let me go back to where we were. There we are. Mamata Nanda. Hi, Dan. It's really awesome to see you live often. I've been trying to do it every Saturday, by the way, guys. Same time, same bat channel. I usually shoot for 2 hours. Again, they're long videos. I wouldn't want to record a 2-hour video because people would never watch it. But it's fun to be available, and it's like meet the people. So I love it. So thank you. You're saying about synchronicity or signs. It is SP's missed call out of nowhere. Yeah, dude, that's definitely a sign. If your SP's just called out of the blue. Yeah, so what that means is they were on your contact. That's how that happens, right? Or you were on that text message. You were trying to hit a different button to maybe look at something or maybe look at the info or whatever, and you accidentally hit the call button. And you're like, and right? And you're like, I hope that didn't go through. But that's because they were looking at you. Your influence is affecting. Now they're opening up their phone and they're like, why hasn't she texted in 5 days? But, if you would have texted, they'd be like, yeah, you text me too much. But the second you stop texting, all of a sudden, oh, now you're interested, huh? It's fun. It's a fun little game we play. Matthew Stringer. Yes, I said that. Miss Hill. Dan, when you tried to manifest that lady who went to jail, did you have a gut feeling she wasn't for you at the beginning? Do I think our intuition should help us choose? I will say your intuition, yes. So you're asking a very awesome question, and so did my gut feeling? There was some signs So that's usually, I think, how that works. Did up my gut feeling you ignore typically when love is involved, and that's why it's really hard to read for yourself when it comes to tarot, psychics, all that kind of. You can be as psychic as you want. It's really hard to read for yourself because we're too in the middle of it. We've got emotions, we've got things attached, and it makes it very hard to be objective. So from that standpoint, one, it's very difficult. Two, when you're manifesting people like that in your life, and you actually are like, I want to have a relationship with this person, it tends to show that you're where you're at from a spiritual growth standpoint. And I've come a very, very, very long way from this place in my life. And I mean, it was a good experience. She was in there for some stupid drug thing. I mean, I didn't realize she was using like she was, but she was apparently. So anyway, that all being said, that's kind of how it played out. It wasn't like she was, knocking down liquor stores or something cool like that. And that's not cool. By no means am I approving of that sort of behavior. Geez, I just skipped a whole bunch of stuff. Good Lord. Wow. Huh. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. It's hard sometimes. Sometimes the comments will jump for me. Hello, Dan. I'm believing, expecting a manifestation of 50 to 100 G for my business, and I'm allowing and not resisting. I don't know how or to from or who. So again, Sean Diamonds, one thing a lot of us do is we focus very much on the money amount. And maybe it is, in which case, if it's for your business, then maybe get a loan. I mean, that's a common way a lot of people do that. It's not, out of the blue. But if you're just trying to manifest a pile of money for some reason, it's better to look at what's that pile of money going to go to? What are you investing it in? What is it? Is that the lease of the building? Is that some of your inventory that you plan on? Is that the racks that you need to own for the inventory to sit on? Is that all those kinds of costs? And so really start imagining that. Don't imagine the money. Don't sit there and I want $50,000. I want $100,000 because I'm going to use it for X. No. Imagine the X. What is it that you're going to spend the money on? Imagine that. Imagine that. That's what gets you the 50 to 100 grand or more. Or oftentimes, that's what gets you someone that's like, hey, I got some extra space that, I'll let you just hang out. And if you maybe help clean up or something, you're like, that's worth it to me, right? So bam, there's your rent. You don't have to pay that. So you don't necessarily have to manifest money for all these things. Sometimes it's the thing that you need to manifest, and sometimes you don't need money. So we limit ourselves when we say we have to do it a specific way. I frequently say that. Don't specify how it has to happen. Specify what you would like to happen, and then let the how work itself out. Hopefully that helps. Infinity. I've heard Abraham Hicks dismissing the term subconscious because we've all felt and though the pattern into being. Well, yeah. From the standpoint she's saying, I think what she's talking about, and again, there's the psychological term of I'm not aware of what I'm doing versus the subconscious part of myself, as Goddard's talking about, is taking the feeling and running out and exposing it to the world, if you will. So they're saying the same thing. So I think that's just maybe misinterpretation. But again, subconscious is used frequently very differently, and a lot of people are like, it's the part of me that's not paying attention, which is also subconscious. It's below conscious. But yeah, the part that when we feel consciously, the subconscious runs with it. You've already felt it consciously. To Hicks's point, they're both correct in my opinion. Pretty X soon. I've commented about this before, but do you have any thoughts or tips on how to overcome feelings like time is running out, or it's too late, or get a SP? But the question, why? Why is time running out? I mean, is there an illness that's involved? Is someone getting married at a specific point? Are they happy that they're getting married? I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of questions I would ask. I feel like, again, sometimes when we come at it from we're in a hurry, we're in a rush, that's definitely not helping. Goddard talks about feeling natural about it. Also, when you are in a hurry and a rush, you tend to separate this thing. It tends to be this weird extreme out there, hard to get. Need it quickly, this thing outside of myself I need to have, or I'm not going to feel a certain way. There's a lot of components within that place, that angst that you're in, that's troubling. So is there a way that I can be in a lot of angst, which is damaging to my manifestation, but somehow say an affirmation to make up for it? No. You need to work on the angst. You need to work on what it is that's causing you to feel like this has to happen in 42 hours or else I don't get the deal or something, right? I don't know. There's a movie called Brewster's Millions. I think he had to try to spend a lot of money in a certain amount of time. There's a neat concept, but yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm at with it. I don't want to come up with a technique to deal with something that's what I would suggest you look at is the problem, not the other stuff. Shy Tricia, if you have an online store and traditional marketing confuses you, is there a simpler way to get your shop seen using law of attraction? I hope this was not too vague. There is ways to get your shop seen more. You can do that through marketing, through trying to work with maybe other contributors that have maybe YouTubes that do similar products. There's ways that you can work with other websites and say, hey, I was wondering if I could, promote you on my site if you promote me on yours. There's a lot of different things that you can start to work, but ultimately marketing is marketing. You can do law of attraction and just hope people find it, but there's still, like he talks about, when you get yourself to the consciousness of someone that's successful in business, for example, you're doing certain behaviors. You've got payroll, you've got you can't just law of attraction your way through these things, right? So you've got to get them. You've got to go out and buy software. You've got to go out and tackle different problems. You've got to get permits. You've got to get all sorts of things. So there's a process that happens when making a business successful, and there's a great deal of doing that just naturally happens as you get yourself to that level of thinking where I'm creating success in my life. Then you start to do success things that bring about success. You start to do more of those. And by doing those types of activities, you create more success and more avalanches of positive things. So I would suggest kind of getting out there and trying to just straight up simple market your product. Why is your product better than anyone else's? Or why is your product awesome? Get it out in front of people. And you can do that just through relationships and building relationships with people. Blob the Blob. Hi, Dan. What if we revised something that was actually part of the manifestation of ours? I wondered about this for the past days. Wanted to hear your thought. Like if I revised something that was part of a manifestation, well, I've frequently talked about how even bad things sometimes, like we try to undo bad things, and it's like, well, yeah, but did you make a change because of that bad thing? And they're like, well, yeah. And then it's like, why would you call it? First off, why is it a bad thing then? Something good came from it, right? If it wouldn't have happened, you would never have done X. Well, that kind of almost seems like this was something that was in your path to get you to do X. Yet we want to go, that was a bad thing. I don't know, got me to do X. Is it a bad thing? So yeah, undoing things that created positive things for us, or undoing things that created the outcome we want, revising that, can affect, I would assume, your current reality of things, or the current expression of how things are. So certainly, yes, I think you can use that for good and for evil, right? With great power comes great responsibility. Jacqueline, hello. I had to start really, really small, just making it from one payday to the next without an account being overdrawn. Yep. Once I could do that, I could imagine more money. That's so on par with how it is. I mean, when I first got this condo, when I bought my brother out anyway, which he got out the best part of the market, bought him out, and that created a problem for myself financially to where I needed to work. I think I was working 75 hours a week. Working 35 hours a week at Starbucks and 40 plus hours a week at this mortgage company in the warehouse. And through time, I managed to create better and better and better first jobs and managed to enhance my wealth significantly and change my life a lot. So it is a step. It's a process. It's really hard to go from 0 to 100. You usually got to kind of step through the different increments on the way. Man, I just totally lost track again. That's awesome. Oh, maybe I'm getting lucky. Yes, I am. That's well done. Yes, there's Jacqueline. Perfect. Blob again. I had to start really... Okay, that's when that happened. The full Monty, get the anger out psychically. Yeah, I think you're saying physically. Oh, physically. And then forgive. Yeah, getting the anger out physically is good. Working out, a lot of people do that, so good. Yeah, otherwise it will burn you up and hurt from the inside. The best, 111, or lots of ones in 2011. Speaking of wealth, no wealthy people who actually seem cheap, but I think they choose. See, this is a good example of some of the wealth complexes that we get. A lot of people have understandings that all wealthy people are evil, all wealthy people are cheap, all wealthy people are X, Y, and Z. But one thing you've got to kind of consider too is you don't get wealthy by just giving your money away. You create a flow, so you spend and make money, but generally rich people don't just give money away. That's kind of rare, unless you're just so ridiculously rich that you're like, yeah, I got like hundreds of billions of dollars. I don't frankly know what to do with it all. Like once you buy a small country, what then, right? Where do you go next? So someone bought a nice Mercedes and all that good stuff. Proud of you. It's always cool when we can manifest wonderful toys in our life. Cool. Brittany, thank you. Not 100% the situation. He was my former SP, but you answered magnificently. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just making stuff up. You know that. What are your tips for manifesting for others? Or you said that already, or I've answered that recently. So, Dirty Mint, love the name. You're talking to someone else. My curls. Hey, Dan just wanted to update. Yeah, you're copying that again. Or did I jump? Huh. Oh, I am totally. I've just missed people's questions. That is awesome. All right, Bob Thompson, let's just start with you. I'm sorry if I've skipped you. If I've skipped a bunch of people, maybe drop another question and just say re-ask or something. Thanks for the info. What is this contact? So, that's something else. Probably not going to share it if you drop an email address in there. I hate that, guys. But yeah, you can maybe type it with a space in the middle, but don't generally recommend putting contact information. Whatever. You can do what you like. Yep. That's awesome. I'm going to let Rafael Prados show for a second. I can't effing believe how I manifested this topic. That's awesome. Raphael, welcome, sir. I can't effing believe you did either. It's cool. Melanie, I'm a Virgo, earth sign, so I love being in nature, but I'm going to enjoy myself this winter. There you go. Enjoy yourself this winter, even though it's not my favorite season. Any suggestions? As far as enjoying yourself, like, what do you like doing, Melanie? I would recommend you find things you like to do. You're an earth person. I mean, maybe there's some place you might be able to visit, or maybe there are some places that are actually beautiful when it gets cold and just dress appropriate for them. Yeah, I'm thinking you can still get out in nature, and nature's got many seasons, and much like people, we all have many seasons, and affects who we are and how we are. So that's always good stuff. The Silly Scribbler, how to affirmations. Just saying them is okay, or some feeling should be attached to it. I think affirmations are a good way to like overdo when you say something you shouldn't. Not necessarily the feeling part, but just getting us out of the mind chatter. I feel that they're more useful there. If you're trying to affect your manifestation, the feeling component is super important. If you're just trying to affect your general mood or the thoughts you're having, I think affirmations are a good way to kind of influence that. But if you don't feel something, I don't particularly believe you have a great deal of oomph behind it in the manifesting realm. So hopefully that helps. Let's see if I can figure out where I was. And Purple Lava, Dan, the old saying, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. Like Neville says, do whatever you will as long as you can deal with the consequences. Amen. Absolutely. Amen. Hallelujah. 100% agree with you. John V. Barty. Hi, Dan. When we do imagination, how do we add emotions and feelings into it? So how it kind of works is you don't add emotions and feelings to it. You think of something and you imagine it. And you imagine it to like it's so real. Like if it's a person, they're like in your face. Like you're right there and you're holding them, or maybe you're sleeping next to them, or like whatever your inspired image is. And you hold that image and you keep thinking about it like, yeah, this is right now. This is happening. I'm experiencing this right now. I can smell them if I can, maybe. I can lick their neck if I want, whatever, right? You could be as crazy and fun as you want. And you imagine it. And what happens from the imagining is you begin to start to feel like it's real. And it's that feeling that you want to embrace. And maybe it is just that love and happiness and that content, but that's what it's going to feel like when you're together. That's the feeling of the feeling. That's the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So you imagine it to the point where it creates feelings, or you experience feelings because of the imagination. You don't add feelings. They're not like a seasoning you add on top of your manifestation. It's actually something that kind of comes about because of the imagery work. That's why we do the imaginal stuff, is to create a feeling. And from there, the actual manifestation occurs. Makes it powerful. All right, Florence Pradhan. I really love Neville Goddard and his teaching. Yeah, Neville's got some great magic, no question about it. Michael J. Fit. When you're doing everything right, affirmations, exact visualizations, and full beliefs, writing, speaking reality in the now with powerful emotions, giving freely, abundant mentally, and still nothing. Well, I would question whether you're quite doing all those things as good as you say you are. That's all. I mean, you say it, you claim it. And I'm hoping you're being as observant as you say you are. But I always, by the way, I just always, and I get this happens with everybody. I always question when people say they're doing everything perfectly, yet nothing's working. I don't believe that. And I've found almost invariably always, I mean, sometimes it's you gotta, it's a little fuzzy maybe, and so it's helping understand, and maybe there is a small little nuance there. But that being said, generally speaking, when people claim that all of these things are happening correctly, they're probably not noticing the places where they do miss the mark. So I would suggest maybe, I don't know, trying to pay a little more closer attention, or you've got this belief that no matter what I do, I can't change. I don't know. There's got to be something more at work here. I apologize. I know you're going to tell me there's not, but I don't believe that. I really don't. It's amazing what I've found, and it's really with 100% of people that do this with any sort of real, true testing. They see some stuff. They see some coincidences, whatever. Like they walk away going, like there's at least a coincidence. It's not normally like I'm doing everything wrong or right, and that's the problem. So hopefully that helps. I know it's not the answer you wanted, but I think it's probably closer to the reality than otherwise, especially as teaching is imagination. Yes, Dan, I have a question. Okay, Raphael, I'm going to start highlighting these. I find that actually makes me find them again. Dan, I have a question on everyone as you pushed out. Does that mean people doesn't exist, or that I've manifested your existence? So that is my point when everyone says everyone as you pushed out. That instantly assumes, I don't buy the everything. I don't just, again, I've said this before and I get it. I don't, as a blanket statement, I don't believe what you just said. First off, the one thing I've seen so far from Goddard, the quote is, the world is you pushed out. I haven't found the part where he says everyone is. I've seen it used and said by many, many, many people. And it probably exists somewhere. I'm not saying it doesn't. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I haven't found it. But that being said, I don't, to your point exactly, I am not you pushed out, nor you me pushed out. Like, I don't even know you, and I'm not really having an experience per se, right? And my life is my life, and everything I'm doing is right. It's not you. But if you and I met in real life, or if we had a discussion and things happen, and you're like, you seem like you're angry with me, and I'm like, no, I'm not angry at all. Like that's you pushed out. Like you're imposing your anger, or when you assume that anybody that has a YouTube channel must be nice or whatever, and then I meet you and I'm suddenly a jerk, you're like, whoa, like that's not the same, right? That's not you pushed out. So there's blanket statements people make. Someone had made the example of, like a 6-year-old with their parents. Like, is it their fault that they're being abused or something? No, absolutely not their fault. So there are nuances that don't fit that blanket statement. So that's why I don't like it. I think there's a lot of truth to the idea of us pushed out, and the world is us pushed out. Like, and that's why I always say it's us pushed out. I don't say everyone is you pushed. I don't say it that way. I know people do. And I know some people believe that very, very black and white. And for the same questions you're asking, that's main reasons why I don't think it's quite that way. I don't know. I hope that helps. Sorry, I maybe lose subscribers doing that, but I just don't buy that exactly how it's taught. I mean, just because it says it in certain people's books doesn't mean I think it's true. I'm trying to share what I understand, not necessarily what everyone is teaching. There is a name I can't pronounce. It's Asian characters or something that's really freaking awesome. Hi, Dan. Does it help my manifestation with my SP by listening to love songs, imagining it's really him singing the words and the songs to me? Yeah. What I would say too also helps, by the way, is when you listen to those love songs and you imagine him, like that's where they inspire that feeling of him and that love of him. That's what does the manifestation. Imagining him singing them to you, which is great, and that will help create this scene where he's going to be at your house. You guys are going to have like Air Supply on. It's just the one I've been listening to lately. It's the only reason. Great, by the way, the greatest hits of Air Supply. If you like stupid love songs, oh man. I so want to go off on a different tangent. But yeah, feeling that's the important part. The feeling's going to do the creation. Otherwise, you're manifesting a night of karaoke with the gentleman, and you guys are going to be singing love songs, which is also probably towards your manifestation. So again, that would be my only caveat, as lame as that sounds, is the feeling of him being together and holding and listening to these together, him singing them to you is very cool. All that stuff's positive towards that direction. So good on you. Good on you, mate. How do you imagine? Oh, how do you imagine laying next to the husband you want to manifest when you don't know what they look like? Well, sometimes a great way to do that is, some people sleep on their sides, right? So maybe he's got his back to you, right? Doesn't have a face yet. Maybe he's got it with covers, but you can kind of imagine it. You can start to think of the way that you would like him to look from behind. Maybe the color of his hair, maybe the size of his physique, right? How big around he is, how maybe buff or whatever, right? Maybe the smell that can come along with it. Maybe there's some sort of cologne that he's going to be wearing. You're pretty sure that is going to be like his fragrance. Like, you imagine it from that standpoint. You imagine the love and just feeling how you're going to feel when this wonderful, I'm assuming it's a male, is in front of you. And when you're open to love, by the way, which seems to be more your direction, that's awesome. Because I really do feel like it's when you're open to love and you're coming at it from a great place and you've done a lot of the self-love and you've worked on yourself, you attract stuff very quickly because there's somebody random very nearby that, believe it or not, can fit the mold rather well. But sometimes we get very fixated on certain people, right, wrong, or indifferent, and that creates a slightly different path. There's a path to them for sure, but you'd be surprised when we open ourselves up what exists outside of us. A lot of people, I think it's... Anyway, I don't want to... got more people. My specific person is married with kids, so technically that is wrong to manifest because it would create heartache for the other, right? Pamela, hey, nice to see you again. I'm assuming that's you. I was the same way, so I felt the same way. I don't want to say it was wrong. I don't like that word, so technically that's wrong. Your belief on whether that's right or wrong is what decides that. Now, a lot of people could say it's our beliefs that hold us back. I think beliefs sometimes keep us from doing things that are not cool. First off, when you do negative actions in life, whatever they are, negative actions to others, it does create karma. So if we're forcing a relationship to end and we're the ones that are getting in the middle of it and causing the rift, yeah, that's probably not doing some good mojo for us. If their relationship's in a bad place and falling apart, very much like Neville Goddard's story, a lot of people quote him, he was married and she was married. Yes, but they both wanted divorces. It wasn't like she was happily married and Neville's like, wah, and she divorced. That's not how it played out, and that's not how he tells the story either. So, to your point, it depends. If you're the Pamela I think you are, which, by the way, I feel like you haven't been around forever, and it's just nice to see you again. I still want to do a video with you, but that being said, that's assuming you're the person I think you are. It's bad sometimes, depends. And I walked away from something, maybe till later, maybe not, whatever, but ultimately it comes down to the fact that I don't want to be the person that's ruining this relationship. There was a kid involved, and he had a good dad, loved his dad, and no matter what, like, I've been in divorce, I've been separated. My mom lived 1,000 miles away from me, and I saw her only in the summer when I was growing up for my whole life. Like, I'm not okay with that. So from my standpoint of who I am and who I want to present myself as to the world, I didn't think that was the best reflection of myself. That being said, open myself up like some people do. I did the video eons ago called Strength to Walk On. A lot of people can hate me for it. I don't care. But ultimately, fell in love with someone else. I've got an amazing relationship, and we've been together almost 2 years now, and she's awesome. She's one of the most wonderful women I've ever had the privilege of knowing, and she's just the sweetest heart and a loving soul, and just tripped me out. I didn't realize how amazing things could be. So I think it's important to keep in mind. That being said, why do I feel like I've lost something? There you are. Okay, Dan, did you say Alan Carr? I'm ready, brother. Nice. It was, yes. Alan Carr is the guy's name. He smoked 7 packs a day, mind you, Jerry. 7 packs a day. I smoked 2 at my highlight, at my big time. And it is amazing how much our bodies heal quickly afterwards. And the nicotine is completely gone from your system in 3 days. After 1 day, in fact, 97% of the nicotine is gone. Day one's the one. That's why I don't ever smoke again, is I don't ever want to do day one again. So just make sure you've got some things to keep you busy. Plan on getting to bed early. But day one is the trick. Once you get through day one, it gets significantly easier, so long as you understand if you ever smoke again, you're going right back to it full force. It's just cigars, dip, any tobacco product, cold turkey. Just kill the nicotine part and you're good to go. Alan Carr, Easy Way to Stop Smoking. Great book. Autumn Beauty, people talking, love it. Kit Kat, back again. Dan, do you conclude that using the everyone as you pushed out, assuming others different, would not be our benefit, as if I keep us stuck and attached to them rather than letting go and moving on from them? I think it does have a tendency in some cases. Again, it's really hard to talk about things because a lot of people want to hear very specific answers. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying others, like, because it's easier to make a blanket statement and say never do this, but that's hard to do. Yes, sometimes we will get into these places where maybe we're trying to hold on to somebody that, like Goddard says, if we try to create a choice that they don't agree with, and maybe it is someone that's in a marriage, that's happy in a marriage, and we're trying hard to manifest them out of that relationship, Goddard says that if they're not willing to do it, it gets reflected back on ourselves. And so sometimes we can get stuck traveling in circles, waiting for someone to change that's never going to change, that doesn't want to change, that doesn't want to change. And we're saying you have to, and they're saying, I don't want to. And where that everyone's you pushed out, I feel, does damage is we're like, well, it's just me. I should be able to change that. I should be able to change me, and then they'll change. And in a lot of cases, that happens. By the way, in a lot of cases, that happens. You could very much be having this belief that all people are horrible, and every time you bump into certain people that are always horrible to you, then you change yourself. You change that view. No, most people are actually pretty cool. And you start to believe that. You start working on that. You tell yourself affirmations. You're like, no, most people are pretty cool. And then you notice that you'll start seeing pretty cool people around you. And in fact, even some of the people that used to be a-holes are now being pretty cool. Same people, same thing, same behavior. And so, yes, you can do that with your kids that are maybe misbehaving. You can certainly do that with a spouse that's maybe misbehaving, right? And you can certainly do that with people to a point. But ultimately, if it seems like it's out of character for them, if they're actually straight up told you, I never want to be in a relationship, and you keep asking me to be in a relationship, and I keep saying I'm never going to be in one. I mean, it's like, how many times can you hit your head against the wall before you realize, man, maybe I should just stop hitting my head against the wall? It's always a choice. And that's the thing that's hard. And I know a lot of people want something that's like, this works 100% of the time. And I know a lot of people want that. I don't think anything in life is guaranteed. And I think anybody that's trying to sell you a guarantee, you should be leery of right out of the gates. All people walk to the beat of a different drummer. Not everything works the same for everybody. We're all made a little different. Some of us are better at some things than others. We've got to give ourselves a chance to explore different opportunities and see how they work and find something that works for us. That is the whole point of all this nonsense. Not just manifesting what you want. Yes, that's awesome, but it's the understanding that how much of a role we play in what we experience in life. All the stuff we experience. All over the place. Okay. Kit Kat, okay, there you are. Purple Love and Nelly, good teaching. Melanie, Michael J. Fit, thank you. Nice, dude. I figured I was going to upset you with my answer. Tilly Scriber, doing self-love, focusing career self-love, affirmations. My name is to feel good. And also to get my best friend, which is awesome. Some other BFFs left me meanwhile, and simultaneously others started to love me more. Yes, a lot of times you'll find as you shift energies, oftentimes you'll start to shed some of the friends that maybe aren't the best influences on us or around us or for us because we're trying to become something else, maybe, again, wealthy. Like I said, you really look at the 5 people you hang out with, and that gives you a great indication of where you are at. And if you're trying to raise or lower yourself, that's how you do it. You surround yourself with people that are either better or worse, essentially. And if you're trying to manifest something, maybe it's a relationship, a long-term relationship, get a couple friends that have been married a long time. Talk to them. See what works for them. Learn about it. Talk about it. See what thoughts and feelings they have. And you'll start to be able to understand what it's going to be like to assume from the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Because you start to hear people that are doing it, and you hear them talking about it, and you're like, oh, that sounds fun. That sounds awesome. So that's a great example of how we can sometimes get to where we're trying to go, is to surround yourself with people that are similar. Tropical climates have tons of healthy natural foods. So true. Tropical climates are the bomb. Isn't everyone as you pushed out referring to I am consciousness being in the... Yeah, and it really is. And thank you, Infinity D. I think you're coming at it from the larger perspective where I'm kind of looking at it from... I don't mean larger and better. I just mean it's really hard for me to microscopically look at it so black and white. It is the I am consciousness. It's that we are all one consciousness. It's what I do to another, I do to myself consciousness. It is all of that. None of these things necessarily say that that each soul is necessarily the same. They're actually different expressions of the same I am. And so we are the same, but we're different expressions and different understandings. It's like my right pinky doesn't know what it's like to be a right thumb, and my right thumb doesn't know what it's like to be a right pinky, but my hand knows what it's like to have both. But it doesn't know one independently, right? But does that make the pinky and the thumb the same? No, they're different, but they are in the same body, the same hand. They're both digits. They're both, right? They're the same, but they're not. I think souls are similar. Not the best analogy, maybe. Maybe it kind of works. I don't know. Whatever. But that's what I got. That's what popped out of my back orifice. Good God, that jumped a bunch. J. Jekyll, I guess. Hey, Dan, I would love to hear your thoughts on synchronicities and how we should interpret them. I get crazy synchronicities sometimes, some with links to my dreams and previous visualizations. I say pay attention to them. Synchronicities are symbols. Symbols are not specific to exact. Symbols are larger than that. That's kind of what's cool about symbols is they represent who we are. They represent different things to us, right? Like a red heart might mean something different to you. A yellow heart might mean something different to you than me, right? Like it has different meanings. So your symbols and your symbology are things that you should pay attention to. When synchronicities happen, they tend to be awesome symbolic ways to give us a strong understanding into how things are playing out in our life. So I always say pay attention. I always say pay attention to your dreams. I don't think all dreams are necessarily psychic. I don't believe all dreams are necessarily real. Sometimes you're just having a tough day and you got a lot of stress in your life, so you start having weird dreams about problem solving or something, right? Everything kind of happens a little different. And so again, there's no one size fits all. A lot of these things you've really got to look at individually. But yeah, synchronicities are awesome, and that's usually how you know you're kind of on track with what you've been working on. You're like, yeah, this is happening. Like that for the most part should be enough for a lot of us to let go and just keep doing what we're doing, and it should ultimately get us exactly where we're trying to go. All right. A lot of people chatting. I love it. We all are each other pushed out. There's only God. None can come into anyone's experience unless my Father draw him. I am the door. I am the awareness, being in a Jesus imagination. So therefore, excellent, China. Thank you. Yeah. And yeah. Alice Skywalker. I love it. I am your father. Hi, I'm manifesting my SP, and we know each other since a while and date on and off. I've changed so much for the better these past few months, and I see results, but how can it be permanent? So I guess the question's kind of tough, right? Like, how can it be permanent? Meaning, I guess, how are they in, like, your full real life or whatever? Oh, I guess there's more. I want to add that he told me what held him back was the fact that I have kids. Reflecting back, I know I had these beliefs. He's already treating me better, but I want him to pursue me. Well, then just keep doing what you're doing. Like, get off the kid thing and your beliefs and your hang-ups on whatever you think is wrong with you, whatever. You probably got some other hang-ups that maybe you're not paying attention to, is my guess. So just work on those. Understand that you're the best, hottest, most attractive mother around. You are Mama Bear number one. You are the shizzle. And own that. Be that. Know that. Say. That's how you know. So do that and believe it. And he will come running after you. Trust me. You'll be like, I've got this dude that I can't get rid of. It'll be that. Whoa. I love it. Nazim Marcuddy. You are saying Ho'oponopono doesn't work. Can you clarify? I didn't say anything remotely close to that. I said the complete and total opposite of that. Completely. 100% opposite. So there's your answer. Watch the video again. EOIYPO, everyone is you pushed down. You don't focus on changing them, you change yourself. Before I even read any further, you don't ever change other people, you change yourself. You go to the end where they already are. Yes, that's exactly it. You create a place where that reality exists. That is how they get there and you get there. You create a bridge to that place. That is why it helps. But again, they still have choices. Keep reading that. It's the thing that I think a lot of people have a hard time with. Even Goddard says that. He says it in all. It's like so many things are just taken out of a weird context. And it's okay, though. It's okay. I just lost all sorts of crap. Oh, well, we're going down here. GE recently attracted an SP a few days ago. He stopped contacting me completely. He's financially well off and has options. I'm not there yet. I created this story that this has turned him off. Yeah, that's one example of it. So try to get back to it, not necessarily with him, maybe with him, but try to get back to that place and learn from your lessons. Yeah, that's what happens when we get in these weird places and allow fears and things like that to come in and own the day, and that really does create problems. Once I let go of what I thought I wanted, I found what I had been asking for and so much more. Yeah, that's Jacqueline M, and I agree. It's a lot of times we put so much effort into something that we need to look at differently. And it's just, you can't make people do it. And then as a coach that says, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z, it's like, all right, go do it. You can do anything you want. But there are times where are we really looking at what we want in life, or are we just looking at what we want for the moment? And sometimes those are two different answers when you look at that question. Kim Nelly, hi, I manifested quitting my job, work for myself, buy a home, fix credit, and be happily married when I'm single. How can I do all this in a year? I don't know. I've said a lot of times that I don't like putting deadlines on ourselves, and you're putting a lot of things on yourself. It's possible. I mean, you can imagine these things all like, $0 balance, how you're going to feel when you've got all these things taken care of. I mean, are you still putting stuff on credit, right? Like, what sort of changes are you starting to make? Are you actually already starting to make a dent in these things? Are you working on it, or are you looking for someone outside of yourself to handle this for you? Sometimes the messes we make are ours to clean up, and that's really the lesson that's in there. I jacked my credit up at a young age, but it wasn't a whole lot of money. A couple thousand, like $2,500 or something, which at the time was a lot of money, but it took me a while. Finally got paid off. Finally got my credit better, and now my credit's really, really good, and life's dandy fine. So again, it's through practices that we get ourselves to these places that we want to go, not sometimes just trying to get somebody to bail us out of the mess we've created. Sometimes the fact that we're lying in the bed we've created, we need to figure out how to get out of it. That's the lesson. Because otherwise, if someone just buys you out of this, you're going to do it again if you don't learn from it, if you don't learn how to have a more abundant, wealthy energy, right? Because if you're in debt, you're obviously spending way more than you can afford. You're way outside your means. So things to keep in mind. If you work towards it, just keep working towards it. It'll happen as quickly as it happens. 1 year, I'm not, again, anyone that says you can do this technique 5 times and you'll get it, I don't recommend it. I mean, even when I've done like my 55 times 5 video, just as an example, like I'm saying this is what the technique is. I'm explaining the technique, and I'm explaining why it tends to work. I'm not saying that if you do this is guaranteed to work. No. A lot of we have doubts. We have so many things that can come into play. The law of attraction is an awesome, large thing. It's very beautiful. Infinity, your analogy worked for me. Awesome. Good to know. I love it when they hide comments. I don't know what that's for. Oh, that's why. Yeah, I'm going to hide that. If people saw it, cool. If they didn't, oh well. Yeah, I don't usually let people leave links. Sorry. Shy, you're talking to someone, Hoffman. Looks like we're getting to the end, guys, which is awesome because we're at 9:57. We're just shy of 2 hours. So unless a good question pops in here. How can I fall asleep with the feeling of the wish fulfilled after sats? I feel like this thing's not updating. You fall asleep with the feeling of the wish fulfilled by when you lie in bed, you start imagining the thing you would like to experience. You feel it as though the feeling of the wish fulfilled is actually happening. And then you will fall asleep just feeling that way, which is always a good thing. So hopefully that helps. I don't see any further questions, so we're going to go ahead and I think start cutting out here with a little music. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys for another awesome stream. I fall asleep, yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, good times. Again, more stuff coming with Goddard. Got the next chapter, by the way, which is going to come out Monday morning. I'm just going to give a quick promo because this one's scaring me. This one I'm a little nervous about, right? This chapter is called Free Will. And for any of you that know me, I haven't even read it yet. I haven't read it. But for any of you that know me, I've got some opinions about free will. So I'm curious to see where Goddard and I are able to handshake. So the next chapter ought to be interesting for those of you that want to tune in. That'll happen on Monday. Hopefully everything else is going well. You have a great weekend too. Kim, you're awesome. You've been there a while. Crypto Cat, Jerry Hoffman, Tanner Sandell, probably Sandell, Crypto Cat. Shy Trisha, Latin Roses. Hey, neat to see you again, sweetie. She did an interview show. You guys want to check out her channel. There's a video that she did with me that if you guys are curious, some of the crap got me into manifesting and all that. Latin Roses is a lovely lady that has got a good little channel going on over there. Good big channel, sorry. Lonnie, thank you. Autumn Beauty, thank you. You guys are the best. Alice Skywalker, until we meet again. I do such a bad James Earl. I mean, he's got the awesomest voice. I can't do that. I'm close, but no cigar for darn sure. Missed it. No, don't worry. Living from the truth. If you really want to watch it, you can, unless the comments are the favorite part, because that kind of sucks on the playback. Christina, thank you. Great weekend, all you guys. This is awesome. You guys are the best. I appreciate each and every one of you. Seriously, you what make this make sense. Otherwise, I'm just talking to myself, which I do normally, naturally, all on my own. Eat healthy. Amen. You guys have a great weekend. I'm going to type it in there too, just so it's in there as well. Oops. Can't type when I'm talking at the same time, apparently. Often as I do that weekend off. Thanks, everybody. You're the best. We'll chime out and close this out. Thank you, guys.